Hello guys, how are you? This is Stars. Welcome back to our GH Livestream room. Today I'm gonna to recommend you our GHdip kit. The item number called GL401. There are 4 pieces dip glue with 15 ml inside the kit. So now let's go for details. So when you first got the kit, you'll find our GH logos on the top of the package now. So when you turn this side, you can see it's our dip glue. And for our dip glue, it's compatible with any brands of dip powders. Can last more than 3 weeks with shiny coat. For this one, it's easy to apply and long lasting. So turn to this side, you will find our item numbers here. The GL401. And here is including 4 pieces dip glue. The base coat, activator, top coat, brush saver with big size 15 ml. And here is the ingredients information and our factory information here. And our factory name, our address, tag, and the website here. So let's open the kit now. When you first open the kit, you got the simple tutorials and how to use our dip glue. You can see that. And this for the normal powder. You can see that. You can scan the QR code here and then follow our Facebook group. It's for the nail lovers to communicate their experience for using our GH products. And you could click the YouTube, you could get the online video tutorials from YouTube. And here is the steps for how to use our dip glue with the powder. It's really useful and simple to follow. So now let's open the inner kit. When you take out the kit, you'll find 4 bottles inside the kit. And with the number 1 base, the number 2 the activator, the number 3 top coat, and the number 4 the brush saver. As you can see, the bottle is 15 ml. It's big size, with the logo here printing, and the numbers, and the name, and the sizes. And turn around, it's the information of the product. And the cap is still with our GHdip 3D logo on the top, with silver cap. For our base, the flow of the dip glue is good, and with no harsh odors, and easy to apply. It's super easy to apply for our base. And the number 2 is the activator. For the activator, you need to use it 2 times if you use with the regular powder. But if you buy our fast dry dipping powder, you just need to use it for 1 time before the top coat. So now here the printing and the silver top cap. And here is our number 3, the top coat. You can find the printing here. For our top, you still don't have the problem of stuck on. But if you really got one cannot open, please do not force to open and put it into the warm water for around 10 minutes. If still cannot open, just contact with our after sales service. We could replenish another new one. So for here is our brush saver, the number 4. For this one, we could show you later on the tutorials how to use it. It's used for clean the dirty brush or the brush get hard. So now we're going to show you our dip glue kit, how to use it well with regular powder and our fast dry dipping powder or other brands powder. So let's go. We have 4 pieces dip glue with 15 ml inside the kit. So here is our number 1 base. And the number 2, the activator. And the number 3, the top. And the number 4, the brush saver. So now we're gonna to show you how to use our dip glue kits with different kind of powder. So the first one is the regular dip powder. You need to shape the nail first. The preparation is the key. You need to push back your cuticle and cut off any excess cuticle. And now we already do that step. But remember, when you do on your nails, you just need to follow our original tutorial. So we're going to shade the nails as your desired style. From the middle to the corner. Use the file. And use another file to remove any oil and shine from the nail plate. And don't forget the critical area. It's really important part when you use the file off any ridges in your nails. And use the soft side to reduce the scratch on the nail plate. So every time remember, do the filing is really important and smooth up the nail edge. Take off any dust. So now we're gonna use the balm. If you have one in your house, you can use that balm to remove any dust or oil and to let the nail beds get dry. So this part is important too. It could make your nail bed get dry and the powder will be more stick with it. So now we're using our GHdip, the regular dip powder, the old formula. You need to first shade the powder and use the nail tips or any stick to stir the powder to avoid the powder sticking together. Then you don't have any problems of the powder nails get lumpy. So now we're gonna use the base, number 1 base. When you open our number 1 base, you can check that the flow of the glue is good, you see, and without caking. And it's super easy to apply. And now we're going to apply the first layer. Thin layer from the middle left to the right. And make brush evenly. And pay attention 45-degree angle to dip into the powder. And let the powder totally absorb with the dip glue. Just stay for a second. And tap off any excess powder. As you can see, we already finished the first layer. Tap off any excess powder, use the brush. And now we are going to apply the second time of our base. When you first brush on the nail plate, you can see the flow of our dip glue base is good and the powder will not easily move with the dip glue. From the left to the right, every time just apply evenly, so then you won't be with any problems. And dip into the powder for a second layer. Let your fingers stay for seconds and take out your fingers. Tap off the excess powder. As you can see, we're gonna to tap off the excess powder. So now if for the regular dip powder, on the market, you need to use the activator now. For the activator to make the powder get dry, this part, you need to use the activator to apply on the nails evenly. Very thin layer because the activator is the volatile liquid. So now we are going to wait the powder totally dry. And around 30 seconds, it will get totally dry. So let's wait for the nail plate get dry. Then we need to fire off any bumpy place. So let's wait around 30 seconds if you're using our activator. It's still faster than other brands did good. So now we're testing the powder whether it get dry. If it dry, we are gonna to fire off any place uneven. So we confirm the powder already dry, we just do the fire. And this part we need to grind in the powder more smooth on the nail plate. And if you apply a little bit more the glue on your critical area, so this part you could use the file to remove. Don't forget the critical part, because sometimes the powder will be easily chewed off or lifting from the critical area. When you fire the critical part, just put your file at 45-degree angle and it won't scratch your critical skin. So now we are going to fire off any unlumpy, bumpy place and reduce the scratch on the nail plate and smooth out the nail edge. And let your fingers with fine shape. And brush off any dust from the nails. So we're going to use the activator again. And this part, the activator is used for letting the top coat get dry and shiny. So if for the regular dip powder, you need to use the activator for two times. Now we're going to use our top. For the top, you still need to use the 2 times too. And we apply the first layer from the middle left to the right. Very thin layer and brush evenly. So the critical part is here. As you can see, the surface is getting a little bit matte. Half dry, but still sticky. We're going to apply another layer on. And this layer, you could apply much more than the first layer. And from left to the right, don't forget the nail edge. This part to prevent your nails cracking from the nail edge. So must be take care of this part. So we're going to wait the top coat get dry. If using our dip glue kit with the good quality dip powder, the regular dip powder, actually the top coat could be dried around 1 minute. So for this part, you cannot touch the nail plate. If you want the top coat more shiny, you just wait it dry for around 1 minute. Because if you put it, your fingerprints will be on the nails. As you can see, the top coat is really shiny. And we just need to wait dry. Okay, we are gonna to test it, whether it's dry or not. Okay, we use the nail tips to test. And you can see the top coat already dry and super shiny if you're using our dip glue kit with the good quality regular dip powder. So for the next, we're gonna to show you when you're using our dip glue kits with our fast strand dipping powder. So first, every time you need to clean the mouth of the bottle if after use. We want to remind you all of our dear clients every time. Just use the lint-free pads to clean the mouth of the bottle and put back the caps and tightly close. For the number 1 base and the number 3, the top, it's really important that you won't feel stuck on with the cap, because this part is really important to avoid it stuck on. So every time keep all caps tightly closed. So now we're going to show you how to use our brush saver. For the brush saver, you need to open the cap and take out the brush. If you find your brush get dirty, firstly, you need to prepare the lint-free pads or the paper towel to clean it. If already clean, so then don't need to use the brush saver. But if you've got too many colors or powders on your brush, you could put into the brush saver and clean. Or if you find your brush get hard. But if you follow our step-by-step correctly, then you don't have this kind of problem. And the most important part is here now. When you, after using, clean the brush, use the lint-free pads or paper towel to clean the brush. Then put into the bottles again to avoid the pollution, the secondary pollution. So now, we every time keep the cap tightly closed and store all items for the cool and dry place. So next, we are going to show you when our deep blue kits using with our fast drying dipping powder. Here is our fast drying dipping powder. For the preparation, we already done. We already washed the hand, pushed back the cuticle, and cut off any excess powder, excess cuticle. So now we're gonna to shake the powder and stir the powder every time, because to avoid the powder stick together. And when you're doing on your nails, the powder will be more smooth without bumpy problem. So we're gonna to apply the base using our number 1 base. Because it is 15 milliliter, so it's durable. You can use it for a long time. Apply the base, very thin layer from middle left to right. Don't forget the nail edge. And every time, remember 45-degree angles to dip into the powder. And take off any excess powder. As you can see, our powder really with strong color. So because our powder is fast drying dipping powder, you don't need to wait dry because it's already dry. And the nail surface won't be sticky. So we're going to apply the second time. Every time just the thin layer on. And from the left to the right. And brush evenly. Don't forget the nail edge. And dip into the powder with 45-degree angle. And stay for a second. And take out the fingers. So, on the left corner, you can see if the regular dip powder, you need to apply the activator now to let the powder dry. But if using our fast drying dipping powder, you don't need to wait it dried because the powder will be dried by itself. Don't need to use the activator. So the most different part is here. If the regular part, you need to use the activator. If the fast drying, you don't need to use the activator. So, for the highlights of our powder, it's saving your time no matter what temperatures in your rooms and for all seasons. So it's really saving your time if you hurry for working or go out. That's why we recommend this glue kit using with our fast drying dip powder. So now our fast drying powder is gonna to fire, but for the regular one, you need to test it whether it get dry or not. So we need to fire off any bumpy or uneven place. And every time, don't forget the critical part. Use 45-degree angle and smooth up the nail edge. Just like this way. And smooth up the nail plate. Because later, when you apply the top coat, the nail surface will look more glossy. Tear off any dust. So now, here's the point. We just need to use one time for the activator if you're using with our fast drying dipping powder. Do not overuse when you're using our fast drying dipping powder. Apply very thin layer on. And then we're going to use our top. And for the top coat, it's same. We need to use it 2 times. The middle, left, to the right, and brush evenly. Don't forget the nail edge. So when you see it's getting a little bit done, we're gonna to use another layer. Apply another layer for our top coat. The nail surface not totally dry, just half dry but still sticky. You need to apply the second layer immediately. So now we're going to apply the second layer, and this layer is much more tough than the first layer. Don't forget the nail edge. It could prevent the powder cracking from the nail edge. So, could you see the difference when you're using our fast drying dipping powder with other regular powders? So remember, here is the key point. Do not overuse the activator if using with our fast drying dipping powder. And when you use our fast drying dipping powder, you can see when you apply the first layer on the top coat, when it is half dry and still sticky, we need to apply another layer on. Or I think most of clients complain that the top coat won't dry. But here's the key point. When the first layer half dry but still sticky, you need to apply the top coat immediately. Cannot wait. So for if using our fast drying powder with our GHdip glue kits, the powders always dry within 1 minute the top coat. So now we are testing whether it gets dry or not. So it's already done. I think most of clients, when they got our dip glue kits, they just focus on the dip glue kit's quality and forgot another important thing. The quality of the dip powder is extremely important too. So now we are showing you when you're using our dip glue kits with different kind of powders. So we will see how it works. If using the same dip glue but with different kind quality dip powder. So let's go. For the first we need to use the base to apply on the nail tips. We just do testing. So for this powder is from other regular powders from other brands on the market. We're going to show you, we already applied the first layer. As you can see, actually the pigment of the powder isn't good because the color looks weak. We're going to apply the second layer. And same, dip into the powder. Let the dip glue absorb with the powder totally. Stay 4 seconds. Do not pull out immediately. So now let's take out. And tap off any excess powder. So here's the point. When you're using the same dip glue, as you can see, this powder isn't good. Although it's already second layer, the color is not strong and not full. But actually you could dip 3 or 4 times, but your nails will get thicker. As you can see clearly, the nail surface is a little bit wet, not dry. So we're going to, if the regular powder, we're going to use the activator to let the powder dry. Do not apply too much. Okay, now let's wait the powder get dry after using our activator. So here we need one stopwatch. Oh, accident happens. So we're going to reset the stopwatch. Let's wait after 1 minute and how this powder looks when using our dip glue kit. Why we want to show you the difference of this part? Because it's really important when you got our dip glue kit. You need to focus on the dip glue quality and the powder quality because it's the whole system. So actually from that to now, it's already over 1 minute, but our nail technician tests it. It's still not dry, not totally dry. Then you cannot to do the fire. As you can see, I think it's too much over 1 minute after applying our activator. Okay, you see the powder. It won't dry. So it isn't the problem of the dip glue. It's the problem of the powder itself. As you can see, we need to abandon it because it won't dry. So, I think the important part is now. Just focus on when you're buying the good quality powder. So next, we're gonna to test another tool. Our GH regular powder. This is an old formula, the regular one. We're gonna to apply the base X every step open. So we're going to apply the base and dip into the powder and stay for a second. Then take out. Okay. So we're going to apply the second layer on. If you're doing this to your nails, please do not apply too much dip glue. And dip into the powder again for the second time. Every time just stay for a second to let the powder and dip glue absorb it together well. So we're going to show you, this is our second layer. The color already strong. So now, we're gonna to take off any excess powder. And this powder, as you can see, the color of full. And if you follow our tutorial step by step correctly, so you'll find the nail surface won't be bumpy. So just remember, more practice. And now because this one is regular powder, we still need to use the activator to let the powder get dry. Cannot apply too much. So let's show you after you use the activator. We are now waiting it getting dry. We need a stopwatch. So every time you're using our dip glue kit with the good quality regular powder or other powders, you can see our activator. It could be dry around 30 seconds. So later we are going to test after 30 seconds whether it's dry or not. Okay, times. We test it. We don't have the problem just like the powder just now. You can see. Without any scratch. It just even surface. Because the powder already dry. We're going to fire. This part is really important too. We need to fire any alarm bumpy place every time. And don't forget the critical part if you use the real hand, the human hand. So we need to reduce any scratch on the surface. Use the brush to tap off any dust. Now, we still need to use the activator. For this part, the activator to make the top coat get dry and shiny. So do not apply too much. So after the activator, we are going to use the top coat. For the top coat, for every powder, you need to use 2 times. We're going to apply the first layer of the top coat. Middle left to the right. So when you see the nail surface gets a little bit down and all matte. You can see that? We're gonna to use the second layer. Apply the second time of the top coat. And remember, every time this part, you can apply a little bit more, but too overuse. Cannot to overuse the dip glue. So now we're gonna do check how long time for our top coat to get dry. As previous tutorials, here's the result. It's around 1 minute. The top coat will get dry. So guys, I want to remind you, our dip glue is compatible with any brand of dip powder. But you need to choose the good quality powder to use with our dip glue kit. Because our dip glue kit is easy to apply and quick dry. Actually, if you do it on your own nails, you'll find it's long lasting too. What's important part, actually when you open the dip glue, there's without harsh odor. But don't smell it straightly and don't put too close to your eyes. So now, the top coat already dry. So this is our dip glue used with the regular dip powder. the good quality dip powder. You see, the nail surface is super glossy. So now, we're going to show you another the powder we recommend. Why we recommend? Because it have very good effects on and saving your time when you're using with our GH fast drying dipping powder. So we're going to apply the base on the first layer and dip into the powder. And take out, tap off any excess powder. Actually, for our fast drying powder, it's already dry. You won't feel sticky on the nail surface when your hand touch it. It won't get dirty. So, the second layer, we need to apply the base too from the middle left to the right. Every time, brush evenly. And dip into the powder. Stay for seconds and take out. Tap off any excess powder. So, you can see the difference from other products. You can see our powders, the fast drying powders, it could be dried within 30 seconds by itself. No need the activator. So our fast drying dipping powder, here's the point. You cannot use the activator, but it dries itself. You can see a difference. So now we are going to tap off and to fire immediately. You can see the difference of different kind of the powder using the same dip glue kit. So using our fast drying dipping powder with our dip glue kit, it could saving your time and with good effect. So we're going to fire off any place when you feel bumpy or uneven. But actually, if you follow our tutorial steps correctly, you don't have this kind of problem. Okay, remove any dust. You're going to use the activator now. Just one time if you're using with our fast drying dipping powder with our dip glue. Because the formula is different. So, we're going to apply 2 times of the top coat. The first layer is same, need to be very thin from the left to the right. And every time just remember, when the nail surface is not totally dry, half dry, but still sticky, you need to apply another layer on immediately. Do not wait. And apply the second layer evenly. Don't forget the nail edge. So now we're gonna do test how long the top coat dry. Actually, it could be dried within 1 minute if you're using with our GH fast drying dipping powder. So overall, for our dip glue kit, it's with lightweight, handy, easy to apply, and quick dry, long lasting. No harsh odors. It's compatible with any brand of dip powder, but it's really important when you're using the good quality powder because it's the whole dip system. No matter the dip glue or the powder is also important. We just cannot just focus on the dip glue. The quality of the dip powder is so important too. And our flow of the base is good and without caking. So you don't need to worry when you're using it. So now, after 1 minute, we're going to test whether it's dry. Use the nail tips, cannot use the finger. So now we're going to see the nail plates are super shiny and glossy. So guys, thanks for watching. Today, our tutorial is the end. Thanks for supporting. Have a good day. Keep it on with Joyce. See you next time.